That's why we might not.
No wonder why I don't have chatters. Oh my gosh. This is awesome. Hello, fans. Welcome in to Detroit. Apparently, I was not on the air the whole time, even though I was talking with Gary. We're having a great time calling a race. And we're running live. That was a good practice. Oh my God.
It's rehearsal, you know.
What a start to
for
the
live,
season.
live TV rehearsal.
No kidding. Anyways.
I wasn't sure if it was me. I didn't want to say anything over. It's like, yeah, I'll just send a message. And then when you're like, I don't have anyone chatting with me, I'm like, well.
Well, anyways, sorry about that, guys. We've been here on the air, well, in person. You guys haven't heard a bit of the broadcast, and I apologize for that. As we welcome you in, we'll go ahead and set it all up and tell you where we are. We're at the virtual Belle Isle here in Detroit, Michigan, as we welcome you into race number 1 of the TI IndyCar Series presented by LD Concepts. It is the LMCgear.com Grand Prix of Detroit here. It's actually Detroit, apparently, according to my thing up there. I don't even know how to spell. What a night it has become for me. There, now it's Detroit. From Belle Isle, it's race number 1 of season 5. Again, apologize to everybody for the mistake there. We'll get the first 12 laps of the race broadcasted. I promise you I will take care of that and go from there. But Gary Gotzo is here with me. I am the captain. You have missed basically a one-upsmanship of a race so far. Isaac Morris and Alex Van de Sant, who makes his return tonight. Good to see Alex out there. He is 0.6 of a second back, and these two have been just pretty much one-upping each other lap by lap by lap in the purple. George Whitehouse is having a fantastic run here in the 3rd position, his debut. Sam Blackwood, Carlos Dotero, your top 5. We've had a couple of accidents, one including Dan Marrera and Steve Grabowski, and one with Charles Baldwin has had some issues here this evening. But, with that said, Gary, good to be back here. We got a good season in house for us here, starting here tonight at Detroit.
You know, IndyCar Series in the past has typically started at a street course, and well, this is kind of our version of starting on the street course. Like we said at the beginning, it's bumpy, it's unforgiving, it's got concrete walls, there's not a lot of runoff. So if you make a mistake, it's going to be extremely costly, and we've seen it happen to a couple drivers tonight. But we got 2 at the best period on the service at the front right now. These guys are in the often in the upper splits of strength of field races when they have the strength of field races on Mondays when the new weekly iRacing IndyCar schedule race comes out. And I mean, there's Jim actually right in front of our leader. But they're among the best on the service right now. If you can get into that top split, you're very, 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 very good.
Jim pulled over like somebody actually pulled a cop toy on him or something and threw the lights on or something. He's like, oh crap. Anyways, we digress. And Detroit's obviously very technical, very bumpy. A couple of long straightaways. This is one right here. You're seeing them on, and of course you got the one going down to turn 3 as they come into the fountain section here of the track. But Detroit, of course, it was off the schedule for a while, not the TI schedule, but the IndyCar schedule, and then Roger Penske went to work and brought it back, and it is definitely a favorite for the series each and every June, I believe it is. Usually it's right after the Indy 500.
Yep.
Did they do it? Yeah, they did the same this season, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a couple races that have been traditionally that the one that follows the 500. For the longest time, it was Milwaukee. For a little bit, it was Texas. And now it's Detroit that typically follows the 500. It's a very big race on the schedule, the IndyCar schedule, because of its proximity to the automakers and the fact that the IndyCars don't go to Michigan International Speedway anymore. Hopefully they'll do that in the future. But this is the only way that they can kind of get close to those engine manufacturers. Right now, there's only 2 in the series. You have Honda and Chevy. But there's hopes as they start looking at the next spec car for the series that we might see other manufacturers make their way in. For the longest time, they've been talking about Ferrari making an appearance. I won't believe it until I see it. But there's a whole bunch of other manufacturers that are thinking about making their entry. But the thing is, if you're a new manufacturer making your entry into the IndyCar series, you're often looking at a rough first couple of years. Ask Lotus.
Yeah, that's no joke there. And you would think I just thought about this. I usually use my phone as a reference. I didn't have my phone open. Good job on my part. But no, going back to what you were talking about, I mean, there's chances for people, and you would think maybe with this whole McLaren team joining up with SMP Motorsports, that might be the lead way to get some of these other manufacturers in here, if it's more of a technical alliance or something like that. So, but I mean, who knows? There's so many things that could happen in the future. I know one thing: it is getting bigger and bigger each and every season. And I argue, and will continue to argue this, that this is the closest it's ever been to Formula One when it comes to talent level and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that even is even more than the 90s, when you had like Formula One champions and former Formula One champions kind of coming over here and trying their art with the IndyCar. And one of the ways you can kind of tell how IndyCar popularity is growing overseas is look at the number of foreign drivers, not only in this particular lineup, but the number of IR18 leagues that are hosted outside of this country. I mean, the PMRL, which is actually one of the sponsors on my cars, as a matter of fact, they are a new IR18 league that is actually admin by Jessica Saban, who drove for me last season, won't be driving for me this season, but she's still part of the team. But she was getting more into IndyCar racing and found a whole bunch of other people that were getting more into IndyCar racing, and they formed their own league. And now I've gone through, and there's at least a half dozen or so IR18 leagues that are based in Europe right now. So that is a very good sign.
And I think another sign, you mentioned the drivers. I mean, look at some of the talents that have come over, and it's not one of those things where they seem like they're shameful that they got kicked out of Formula One or whatever happened, but they're more like, oh my gosh, I think I found a home here. You look at, Roman Grosjean. You look at, obviously, Alexander Rossi. You look at Bourdais, who's come back over. All these drivers that have come over, and I know I'm losing a few others in my head. Marcus Ericsson, those drivers there, they were solid Formula One guys or didn't have the best of teams. They come over here, and they're shining.
And for a while, actually, I do believe that, it was really kind of considered a demotion for them to come over here and race in IndyCar racing. But adding the Indianapolis 500 to that and the way it's rescued other people's careers, like I know that originally Rossi, this was not what Rossi wanted to do. But winning Indy 500 changed a lot of that. And I think the international perspective of IndyCar racing is not necessarily a step down anymore. It's more of a lateral step.
Justin Miller here in the 80 car, back in the series this season. I believe he took the season off last season, if I remember correctly. I didn't see his name at all, but good to see him back here in the 80 car, running in the 9th position here this evening. Let's pull up the schedule.
He won the first race last season.
Oh, that's right. He did run.
He won the first Triple Crown race. Yeah.
See, I thought he was only in the running in the. For some reason, I thought he wasn't here for the IndyCar series, but yeah, I forgot he did win the oval race. Never mind. So, looking at the schedule here up on the screen, Belle Isle this week, and then we go to Auto Club Speedway next week, and then in the Daytona Road Course here in 2 weeks. Road America, Indianapolis, of course, for the running of the 250, which I might break some news here later tonight, just FYI. Watkins Glen, that'll be on the schedule round 6. Mid-Ohio, Long Beach, Pocono, and Barber to finish out the 10-race schedule. No international races. Gary, your thoughts on that?
There's plenty of nice courses that domestically that we're able to fill the slots this year, and I know the Barber course has a lot of followers. Even I even think a lot, especially on the service, there's more fans of Barber than there are of Coda for some reason, and I'm not sure why, but Barber has a lot of fans. That's the reason why it made the schedule, but we have to have those other races that we see every year because of the drama that they have that they seem to generate. So we got to have those return. And after you start filling up the spots, and you just realize you don't have any room for any more of the European tracks because you found a bunch of quality American tracks or North American tracks that fit the bill.
And I think Barber's one of those. You talk about Barber being one of those tracks. It's one, they call the scenery there, I think, is part of it. Just how cool it is to be able to watch a race there. They call it the Masters of IndyCar racing because just with the way that, I believe it's George Wilson's the gentleman's name, built that track. Correct me if I'm wrong on that name. Created that track and has all different types of creatures and animal statues all over the place with the grass, and people love going there and enjoying the racing at that track. But
yeah,
Good.
And if you look at the other, like Mid Ohio, I mean, we've had what 2 consecutive high drama races there. Long Beach, 2 consecutive races where the yellow flag came out for a road course race there. I mean, those are reasons why and of course everyone likes Road America. So those are reasons that those made the schedule again. And then you got the Watkins Glen there, you get Barber, you add the Daytona road course, and then you realize at the end of the day, well, you don't have a spot for Spa, or you don't have a spot for a Le Mans or a Pass, and there's really no need for it.
And of course, if there was any track, I think right now you would add on to that schedule would be Red Bull Ring, because it seems like that's a popular one right now for drivers of this kind of car and that kind of thing. So
yeah, it's a brand spanking new course.
Isaac Morris has led the whole entire race. Alex Van de Sande has been right there on his gearbox, about 1.4 seconds back. We should be seeing the first cycle of pit stops here. The rules are in play that you do have to switch sets of tires. Obviously, if you run on the alternates, you do have to run the primes at one point in the race. So it could be this coming up run, or it could be towards the end, which we're thinking we're going to split this up 16, actually 13 that would be, to get to the 53 laps and that kind of thing. So we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, TI Racing is the series, of course, the LMC Gear Grand Prix of Detroit. Take us a lap around this track, Gary.
It's not, like I said, not one of my favorite courses. And to be honest, I'm not much of a road course racer, so you might be asking the wrong guy for this, but there's really only about 2 places where you can pass here. They're both at the end of the long straights. Most of the time, it's just keeping your pace and trying to maintain distance to the guy in front of you, so you can get that position to get into one of those passing zones. But like I said, it's bumpy, it's fast. It is fast, but if you bang one of those walls, your day is done. And I think I'm filling in for some dead air time, so.
Yeah, my daughter was saying goodnight to me, which is one of my favorite things each and every night, and I wanted to say goodnight to her, so that's why I did a little segue. I was like, you know what, I hate to throw Gary under the bus, but I'm going to for a quick second. Tell him how to get around this track. But as you see, the very bumpiness of this track with the cars, obviously a lot of fast-speed corners, very technical as they come over here to the front straightaway. And turn 1 and 2 here, very tricky. This is where the infamous pace car accident happened a couple seasons ago, right here.
Yeah,
well, I'm
that
sure
GM
that guy
executive is never going to live that one down.
He's probably not working for GM anymore. But anyways. So through turn
so
3
Luke Daniels was in the pit there, so I think that might have been a scheduled stop. Yeah, lap 21. So
and Luke is in. Luke has trouble over here where this Corvette happened. Ran off turn 2 out of pit road. He has spun it around and has hurt the right front wing on the 98 car. As
careful.
You got to be very careful here. Alex ran a 13:55, so they're starting to run Isaac Morris type laps now around this track as they're getting ready to make that pit stop.
Yeah. It could be a situation of just new tires and not coming up to temperature as fast as he would have liked, even though he's on the alternates.
Yeah, he comes out here of pit road, cold tires, goes through, comes out of pit road the correct way, has a car to his inside, he gets going, comes over that hill, and spins the tires. Exactly what happened.
And your car also gets very light there. Remember, when we talk about races where there's change in elevation, even in slight changes in elevation for these cars, when these cars crest hills, the backside tends to get light.
As Isaac Morris is on pit road, the first of the leaders, trying to protect an undercut from Alex Van de Sande. So Isaac is in lap number 23 of this race. So very interesting here, pitting very late in the stint here. So 23 would go to 46 and only be 7 laps to go. So interesting call here is George Whitehouse to pit road, Sam Blackwood, Carlos Otero. Here we go with the green flag pit stops, first ones of the season.
And Isaac's on push to pass coming out, so he is trying to lay down a fast lap right off the bat.
Okay, we appreciate all the viewers watching tonight. I know kind of a lower number. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that I was not on the air. I thought I was, and unfortunately made a little mistake there, but we're going to get you the first 12 laps of the race, I promise you. Probably going to be here after this race. I'll set it all up and kind of rebroadcast it, so to say, so I can somehow patch it together. I got to figure out that YouTube technology. and let you guys be able to see both parts of the race since you missed the first 12 laps. Instead of pulling a, God, what race was it? 2009 Bristol Xfinity race, I think it was, where the last 11 laps did not air, and I don't think they still have aired. As Van de Sande comes to pit road, and Whitehouse, Whitehouse has gone around.
Uh-oh.
And he's included in contact with Blackwood. Blackwood's tire pops back into place. Apparently, clap-on works. But George Whitehouse is severely destroyed. That's 6 car.
Yeah, and he's a long way from the pits right now.
As Alex Van de Sande comes to pit road, we'll get you a replay of that wreck. Here is the Happy Trails Chili Mix. 4 tires and fuel. He leaves as Isaac has wow, Isaac with a fantastic lap there. He is already in turn 3. He's going to have a good 8 seconds of a lead in a 1-lap difference. Fantastic.
He is a strategic driver. And real quick, I see in chat says Tanner Long says, what league is this? I'm looking for a road league on Tuesday. This is the iRacing IndyCar series, and you can search it up on iRacing if you do a league search, and you'll find a link to the Discord server where you can join that and apply to be a member of the league. And if you're a good road course racer, this is the place to come.
Just saw what happened to George Wilson. He actually clipped the inside wall with the right front trying to apex the corner, and it kicked him out to the outside wall, and he collects the 27. That was a big ship out there, by the way. Let's look at this again. We'll let you see this, Gary. But basically, he comes down the short chute here into the right-hander, and then up here on this right, or at the left, and then another right-hander, and into that right, you're going to see him apex it just a little too short. And right there, clips the inside wall, and bam, goes around.
Yeah. Like I said, the margin of error is very, very slim here.
So you want to be an IndyCar racer, huh? Anyways. Justin Miller, Jim Herrick on pit road. Andres Perez. But it has been the two-man show so far this season. There's Kite Bombers back, who unfortunately had an issue himself earlier. Ran off the track over where you can have a runoff at, and was able to get back home, but lost a lot of spots. Now, we were joking during the part where we thought we were on the air. We had one point in the race about, 6 or 7 laps in, where nobody but like 2 drivers had touched or pushed a pass. And we made the joke to Edu Vila that he wasn't here tonight, and hence why our push to passes were saved. If you look over now at the driver in the number 10, Isaac Lopez, and I noticed about 5 laps ago he was down to 1. He is now completely out.
0. He is Winchester on push to pass, and then if you want to then change the camera to Carlos Del Toro, he is now down to 4, and we're just at the halfway point.
Maybe there's a game or something going on, because I believe they are part of the same team. I'll have to look on that. But Dotero, maybe there's a word that we say on the stream that we've said too many times.
Every time one of us says that you have to push to pass, it's like taking a shot. Yeah.
But talk about push to pass, Gary. Obviously, we got a few, I know, stock car guys that are in a couple of the leagues I broadcast for during the week. What is push to pass?
Yeah, it's in real IndyCar racing. You have 200 seconds where you can push the button on your wheel, and it gives you about 200 extra horsepower, give or take, and it helps you in passing and also helps you in defending. Unlike Formula One, you don't have to be a second and a half or second or whatever between you and the person that you're attacking or the person behind you in order to use DRS right there. You can use push to pass anytime you want, but you only have 200 seconds of it, and then when you're done, you're done. Here in iRacing, it's hard to do the 200 seconds, so what they did is you give you 10 pushes of 20 seconds each, and that equals that number, and then that's how they can use it here.
So in a nutshell, that's how it all works out. And as you mentioned, it's good for protecting. It's good for also trying to take advantage and pass somebody. But the thing about it is you got to use it carefully because, as you mentioned, you have up to 20 seconds to use it when you're running. The problem is, unless you're at like...
Alex ran long down at the end of the long straight.
Oh, Alex overshoots the corner. And you can tell he's really pushing. Is probably frustrated that he let Isaac get away here to now what's going to be a 15-second lead. Alex is going to be on his own island here. But unfortunate mistake there for the 317. Let's see what happens. By the way, 317, in case you don't know, is the Indianapolis area code. Let's see, going down the straightaway here. But you mentioned the thing is, unless you're at like Watkins Glen, Lamar, and oh yeah, he just gets too deep there, and he does a good job stopping. He could have easily tried to turn there and went into the tire barriers. But also another thing to note, Alex on the prime tires, so he will have the reds for the long run, and Isaac will be on the prime tires. Let's take a note of that also here in the latter run. But what I was starting to say is, unless you're at Watkins Glen or Daytona, off the top of my head, Lamar, I guess Spa would be another one. Just off top, Monza, maybe you can get away with that one too.
Yeah.
You're not really going to use ever 20 seconds to push the pass at one time.
Well, actually, Le Mans is one of those places that you'll run on some of those straights. You'll run out of time. Actually, the push the pass will stop before you reach a point where you have to shift down and brake. And that's what happens when you shift down or brake. That's when push the pass turns itself off.
Which is the equivalent of the, when you look at DRS in F1, same thing. When you hit the brake, bam, that wing shuts down. Yeah. And Carlos Dotero just coasted on the pit road, and I saw his right front wing fix into position, so I think he has had some issues on the track. I don't see anything in my timing of wrecks and stuff like that, so not sure what's happening to 48. He is on pit road, though, here, and he is not in a hurry to leave.
Every single season we come to these street courses or converted street courses, and I always tell my drivers on my teams, and even when I'm on teams that have teammates and we come to these, is just survive.
Yeah.
If you have to brake early to make your turn and you get lapped, so be it. Right now, if you look, Don Hunter is up 5 spots and he is from P5. Why? Because he's pretty much raced a clean race, and he's passed other people that's made mistakes. Chances are, and when it comes to iRacing, Darwin will take care of the guy in front of you in most cases. You don't always have to pass the guy in front of you in most cases, but Darwin will take care of the person in front of you in most cases. And I've been a beneficiary of that, and I've been a victim of that. But you don't need to push hard. You just need to survive.
Should I ask the obvious question? I thought Dotero went around again. The obvious question here is, what has happened more, the beneficial or not so much?
Well, my strat, so I've benefited from other people's mistakes time and time again on countless. And like I always say, the easiest place to pass somebody is when they're in the pits.
Gary Gotzo, the only driver I know in a IndyCar race that will actually, on the pace lap, run his own pace lap around the house. And then a green flag comes out. Meaning he starts on pit road is what I'm trying to get to with that. So Isaac leads now. It's a 14-second lead. Alex really starting to push hard here. And obviously this is going to be good to see strategy-wise, because what are the tires going to do? When do these alternate red tires fall off the map? These guys run 100% fuel, so it's the regular Indy car. There's no modification of setup or anything like that because of gas or weight or anything like that. So they have this straight up. So it's that $1 million question that we both know that we don't really know the answer to, is how long are these reds going to last?
They could change the engine map if they want to for fuel consumption, but none of them are anything less than 1 right now. I'll say that, or anything more than 1 right now. I want to say that these tires are going to last. If they're going to stay on them for 22 to 23 laps, I'm going to say they're going to last at least that long. But I'm going to say they probably, the last third of that run, they're probably pretty sketch.
So one thing we should mention, 23 laps to go, and you're looking at Isaac Morris. He has the number 1 on the car this season. 4 seasons of trying and all different things happening. You finally got that championship last season, and I'm sure he feels pretty sporty there, putting that 1 on the car this season. And so far, he's rocking it pretty good.
In the pit.
Alex comes to pit road. The fuel window is open, and he is immediately getting off these prime tires and going to the alternates, which this could be a very interesting move here, because this, I think, is going to force Isaac to come pit road.
Yeah, and this is actually champion versus champion right now.
Yep.
Of course, Isaac is the reigning and defending now champion of the TI Racing IndyCar Series, and Alex is the reigning and defending champion of the Velocity Online Racing IndyCar Series. So, two guys that are going to wear number one, but in different leagues,
Right.
looking eye to eye right now.
So we're going to have to keep an eye on lap times, no pun intended there, and see how this all transpires. Alex is now 43 seconds back in third. Sam Blackwood is in between the two. Sam having a fantastic run in the, wait for it, Sam car. Just caught that.
Alex with a 1:13.546 purple lap. Not sure when he set that, but he's currently the fast lap man.
So the one thing I did mention, we do have our Track Cam Ford Gourmet returning, of course, to the series, and each and every captain, broadcaster, most of them, I should say, we have these cameras to offer. You can go to trackcams22.com like Gary did. He has his own package he likes to watch when he's doing his racing and things like that. And, of course, you can watch it here on the stream as you see Blackwood running his way up the straightaway here to turn number 3. A little bit of a crowd there in that section of the track. You see what looks like some kind of a, I don't know what that was on the left there. It looked like a playground at first, but then I saw like these buildings. I was like, oh wait, maybe that's not. But the cool part about this like drone cam is you get to see the surrounding water and everything of this area. It's an island literally between the Detroit, Michigan area and Canada. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's very much like the configuration of Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, where it's kind of sitting on a man-made island between a couple bodies of water and that type of thing. Yeah.
There you see the fountain section, which has become a new tradition there in Detroit, where now the winner of this race goes and dives into a fountain. And I couldn't help but think to myself this year when I saw the Marcus Ericsson and also Pato Award dive into the fountain. I was just like, that has got to be like very uncomfortable in a fire suit jumping in the water.
The reason it started was a couple years ago, the race was so hot.
Right.
And I think it might have been Ryan Hunter-Reay.
I believe
the
it
first
was.
one that did it. And he's just like, I'm going in that thing. And you know what? If he's already drenched, so that water isn't going to really make much of a difference.
I know I would dive in there, but I was just more worried about comfort because, obviously they're wearing that fire suit. They got clothing underneath. Of course, you worry about the chafe, as we call it.
Well, there's a lot that you're willing to sacrifice.
That's true. They're out there sacrificing. They're running 60 mile an hour between two walls. I guess what's the worst that can happen? Jumping in the water. So Isaac Morse leads. He's got 30 seconds over Sam Blackwood. Alex Van de Sant watching his times closely so far. He is not as fast as Isaac. And, of course, Isaac is on the alternate red tires. Alex is also. The difference is 8 laps. That is the separation of laps here that they are between stops. Of course, Alex ran those 8 laps on the primes. We're expecting to see Isaac come to pit road probably at about 8 laps to go and switch over to the prime tires. And I'm not sure if there's a number maybe that'll happen at. You expect it to be with 8 to go, but if it gets to the point where Alex starts blowing away lap times, that Isaac might have to make the counter move real quick.
So the biggest reason why Isaac has the lead as he does, I mean, other than that he is good. Let's look at the top 5. Sam had a collision with George that might have damaged his car.
Right.
Alex had a runoff, and that cost him time on the track. Kite had a runoff, and that cost him time on track. Isaac has not. He's hit his marks. He's continued to turn laps. He's turned fast, consistent laps, clean laps, no incidents. That's why he's pulling away. While others behind him kind of make mistakes, he just continues to move right along.
13:87 last time by for Isaac, a 14:06 for Alex. Now, with that said, I will counter with this. Isaac does tend, see Mid-Ohio last season, to make that whoopsies at the worst moment of the race.
He is not immune to making mistakes.
Right.
We've seen that before. and we've seen it in other leagues too. But we're human, so he could clip this like right there. He could have clipped the apex and gone right into the wall and damaged his wing, and had to either do a toe or whatever. Any number of things could still happen, but he's yet to make that mistake.
Which shows the driver, and not to mention, let's give him credit for this. He has not been on iRacing long at all. I mean, I look at me. I've been on for 8 years. I mean, this is my I thought he was getting close to that wall right there. I'm now, let's see, May of 2012. So this is my 9th year officially now I am in on iRacing. And I am nowhere near the talent of any of these guys, let alone a stock car even. But I'm more inexperienced in an Indy car.
Well, Isaac comes from, I mean, he's not a stranger to online racing. He came from the Codemasters Formula One ranks prior to coming to here. That's my understanding. He's among the many that signed up for this service during the pandemic. Got nothing else to do, might as well just sit at home and race. And I'm one of those. But there's a lot of crossover between Formula One and IndyCar. You see that in real life with the real life drivers, and it's no surprise that he did real well with the Codemasters Formula One. I think it was 2018, 2019 game where they had multiplayer, and he's doing it here too.
Pass for 6 as we watch Whitehouse on push to pass down the straightaway here. Going to make it hard and makes it happen. Oof, he did it on the outside going into the fountain corner. Lester gave him the 6th position. So great job by George. Good bounce back for him.
Very ballsy move. He wants to get up into that top 5, and that works well for me.
Appreciate the viewers again watching tonight. If you stick around after the race, like I said, I will broadcast the first 12 laps of the race. We'll somehow find a way to patch it together or do some kind of part 1, part 2 thing. As Isaac, 13:28 just went purple. There's an Isaac Morris lap right there. For those who don't know what an Isaac Morris lap is, think of like Lewis Hamilton or Michael Schumacher back in the day when somebody would come to pit road and, well, I don't know if they would do it back then, but today you would hear the words, push, push. Isaac, what do you do to push, push?
Yeah.
That's what he just did.
Yeah, that's one of those things that it's almost like stomping on something and then twisting your foot while your foot's down on the ground.
I think I know what that something is.
For the longest time in racing, your pit in and your pit out laps really didn't matter. I mean, they no one really took those into consideration. And I think it was on the Formula One level. I think it was actually Senna that really emphasized the pit in and pit out laps as being important to making up time on the racetrack. And now everybody does it. If you're not hitting that point where you have to be on that rev limiter at nearly full speed, you're not hitting it fast enough.
Well, think about it. The cars have gotten so tightly together now. They're very competitive. I mean, lap times right now of all 16 cars still on the track. Actually, let me correct myself. 14 cars on the track. Everybody who did not pit that lap is within 4 seconds. I mean, that's fantastic pace for all these drivers. Now, with that said, where's the easiest place to pass somebody? As Isaac passes somebody easily.
In the pit.
In the pits. So how do you do that? Obviously, you run hard as you're getting ready to go to the pits or coming out of the pits, so you can do, and that's where the undercut or the overcut happens here. I thought I saw Luke Daniels have an issue.
This might be a good one. We'll see if he makes a turn to pit road or he's going to...
Well, he's got a lap car in front of him here. He's got the, was that the 48 of Dotero, I think? Oh, no, it's Jim Herrick. Jim Herrick in the LMC car. Let's see if he cuts a right to pit road here. He does not. He's going to draft off Herrick. No push to pass. He's down to 3 of those. Let's see what kind of lap he runs here. 14:53. He's actually getting slower. Last 4 laps have been slower for Isaac. So he might have burnt the feel good off of these balonies.
Yeah, and he was definitely using push to pass on that lap. That's what caught my attention. I thought that maybe he might be on a flyer. But once you use the goodie out of these tires, then you're, like I said, they get sketch, and you're just kind of hanging on.
Looks like Luke Daniels did have trouble right after we cut away from him, and he has jumped to the pits. So Luke, unfortunately, 14th, 6 laps down. And I'm sure much like, well, I'm going to save any kind of Detroit joke tonight, so let's not do that. He's just not going to be, he's going to be getting out of here real quick. Alex Van de Sant 7/10 faster that time by than Isaac. So here's where I think that crossover is happening. Isaac on 8-lap older alternate tires, so the fall off is happening for him. Meanwhile, Alex's are just in its prime, no pun intended there.
I just don't know with the amount of time remaining, unless there's a major off or something. I just don't see Alex making up all that time.
Inside the helmet here of Alex. I have been requested to sing some Nickelback. Not happening. Not because I don't like Nickelback. I enjoy Nickelback. I admit it on the air. I don't care if I lose viewers for it. They're awesome in concert. But you do not want me singing. Because one, if I start singing, it'll shut off my stream because it's copyrighted music. Julian. Two, we want viewers, not losing them. We're only like 20 from 500. So you can see, as we're riding with Alex, look at his head just bouncing. I mean, that's the bumps. I mean, they're on a traditional street here. Normal vehicles drive on this during the week.
Yeah, and the road is crowned, as you can kind of see.
Right.
And these do have shocks, and these do have shock absorbers and struts, but they are so stiffly sprung that it really doesn't matter. They're about as, as firm as a surfboard. They're not bending at all.
Right,
okay. Right. And every bump is amplified. Now, we're not sitting in cockpits here, obviously. The drivers sitting in cockpits, they've said this is murder on them. But imagine if you had a force feedback wheel. It's like you're holding a machine gun.
Well, and these guys don't have any kind of a steering box, or they have a steering box, obviously, but no power steering in these cars. They're turning these wheels with straight muscle.
Yeah, no power steering.
So when you think about these guys running, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 85 laps, a normal race here at Detroit.
Yeah.
So 170 laps in a weekend here on this course, and you wonder why they're in those like ice chambers or whatever in between races on a Saturday night.
Having in a lake or that fountain afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, that too, and then they're probably eating a whole box of pasta. They get the all the nutrients and stuff that they need.
To say is poor Will Power during that race, man. It's almost like he suffered a DC that when we're on the service and we're doing good and all of a sudden we get disconnected.
Yeah, right.
It's almost identical to what it's almost the exact equivalent of us getting ADC is exactly what happened to him.
So we're going to come up to 12 laps to go as Isaac Morris crosses the line. We've been watching the times. He was actually faster than Alex last time by. Let's see this time a 13:75. So I thought Isaac was getting slower. Wrong again. Kite Bommersbach, the last of the 4 cars on the lead lap, and a great comeback for him tonight.
Yeah.
In the 4th position after he overshot in a corner earlier in the race. And the reason why I haven't showed you any highlights at the beginning of the race is because, like I said to the viewers, I am actually going to stop for a few minutes after this race in the broadcast, and I'm going to come back on and re-air the first 12 laps of the race. Unfortunately, ran a little late from work tonight and realized I was not on the air when I thought I was on the air. And thanks to Gary and kind of messaging me and being like, hey, yeah, you're not on the air. I realized I wasn't on the air.
Yeah, Kite's obviously driven this race with a little head down, maybe racing with a little bit of red in the vision, so to speak. So yeah, he's done a good comeback. But some of these guys have yet to pit too, so right. They got pit stops coming up.
Now, one thing for Kite also will mention, I believe this is his first street circuit start in yes. TI, because he made a start in the last 3 races of the season, and I believe he had 3 podiums in those 3 yes. races, including that win at the end of the season. So he is looking at how just ridiculous this is going to sound at his worst finish of his career.
Yeah. And I'm sure that after the race, the post-race report will be that he felt that he could have done better. But all things considered, to recover to because at the time he did it, he was in what, third?
He was in third, I believe. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so he's only a position off where he had the issue, and he really wasn't gaining that at that time. Well, something happened in front of Isaac, but I saw some smoke, but it was further on down
Might have
apparently.
been a lockup.
But apparently where he wasn't necessarily gaining on Isaac and Alex, but he wasn't losing them either.
Right. And that lead has stayed right around the 45-second mark. Now, obviously, Isaac has pulled away enough to where he should be able to hold this lead. Once he does make that final pit stop, him and Blackwood should be expected in the next, I would say, 2 laps. And I know for Isaac, he'll have to switch over to the prime tires, as unfortunately Jim Herrick having more issues. He kind of warned us in advance tonight. He's like, this is not going to be fun for him. But he has done his best tonight. Andres Perez looks like he's had an issue, but everybody's had their struggles. But the one guy who's not is the one who has that 38-second lead, and he is going to continue with his winning tradition here in 10 laps if nobody's able to catch him or if he doesn't make a mistake, and that would continue on with his series leading win total. Now tomorrow night we invite you to join us for the Prehistoric Forest 200 to Union.com 200 Michigan Speedway for the GLSR Truck Series. Gary, if you remember the story when we've ran Michigan before, I've shared this on the air. This particular race in this series is named after the theme park that sits to the east of the Speedway in Michigan.
It's like a ghost park, right?
Pretty much, yeah. It's all dinosaurs are still there. Here comes Isaac to pit road, and it's a traditional race for that series. They run it every year, and they call it that name. So Isaac to pit road after running a 13.7 on that last lap.
If people watching that race want some more entertainment after that, when you're done, head on over to Race First, because the Reddit IndyCar series will be doing Dover and the IR18s in heat racing.
I might have to pop up into that one. That is one track I want to see IndyCars back at. Like, I can't forget that race. Obviously, it was the late 90s, I believe it was. We're watching Tony Stewart and those guys race at Dover in an IndyCar. I'm just like, that's awesome.
Yeah, 97, 98, 99, they raced there. The first race, actually, I think was one, if I remember right, was run by Buddy Lazier. But it was funny because the owners of the facilities went through the trouble of making the track smooth. Right. Well, remember what I was saying about these Indy cars? Even back then, they were stiffly sprung. They were just, as firm as a board,
Right.
And that track, you could clearly see how much bumps were still in it when those cars were at speed around that track at that time.
Oh, Alex has gone around over here.
Oh, no.
Coming out of the fountain, I believe this is.
Okay, he gets another way though.
Nope, I'm sorry. This is before the fountain, the straightaway. He actually spins, so he's going to have damage.
I think one of his wheels is askew.
He backed into the wall with the left rear, and this is something too that we've noticed out of Alex lately. Yes, he is a championship driver. He's a fantastic driver, but he is not susceptible to that mistake also. And right there, just maybe a little too much speed carried in that corner. Obviously, the Reds maybe falling off a little bit, and he backed it into the wall, and that is going to hurt him. He'll probably have to come to pit road. I don't know.
Definitely.
Is he?
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to go to pit road. Otherwise, he's just going to lose position after position. He might.
Left rear looks okay, and he's got about 40 seconds on fourth. He might be okay to just kind of.
Well, if he gets a meatball, I think you have a certain number of laps you have to answer that. And yeah. The interesting thing with iRacing, if you get damaged within that window that the meatball makes you have to visit pit road, and you can finish the race in that period, it is not a penalty. It's an interesting thing. It's how the service does that.
Now, hopefully, he has the reset. If he does, he should be able to
I believe he does. We'll see once he hits the spot.
Bam,
Boom.
right there.
Okay, he's done. Yeah,
he's going to go ahead and change tires. So I was wondering if he would just get out there and stay on that set of tires and just get the damage fixed real quick. He's going to leave. He's going to stay ahead of Don Hunter. As trouble for George Whitehouse again. He's gone off over near the fountain.
Yeah, we got these tires are just spent at this point.
As Don Hunter comes to pit road. So Alex obviously going to preserve that third place finish now. Hunter with a fantastic run tonight.
So what we were saying about Dover and these cars, Tony Stewart's pie dash, before they were really on their steering wheels. He had the Pi Dash that was actually a dashboard, like you see that they have
Right.
in Cup racing. It was so bumpy that actually came lodged off his dashboard there and fell into his lap.
That's never good.
So one of the pit stops they had to, using helicopter tape, which is basically heavy duty duct tape, tape it back in place so he could finish the remainder of the race with the dashboard not in his lap. But that race was all those races were definitely known for, especially G-Force and the Lara the morning after,
Right.
Heavy part reordered mornings for those guys because their business went up after the Indy cars went to Daytona.
Alex
to
back on
Dover.
pit road.
Did he get a speeding?
Or maybe a glitch or something. The meatball might not have cleared. Or something. Well, he did the reset, so that don't make sense. But Alex is back on pit road, so this run's getting worse.
No. Is it me or is it the right front, left front?
You noticed that too?
Again.
His left front looked broken. I don't see anything happening to Alex. And he's sitting on pit road now. Something must have happened on that lap, and it does not show anything happening to him, though. Alex enters pit road.
This might be a black flag. He might be entering the black flag.
Well, Kite goes by, and let's see if I can find Alex here. He's coming on pit road at this moment. So, I don't know. That's unfortunate for him. I know he's going to be very disappointed, but this puts the potential in here of Isaac lapping the field.
Yeah, I think Sam still has the pit.
Yeah, him and
No,
Sam.
Sam's done. Sam's done.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, and Isaac's been on pit road too. He is on the primes. So both of them have been to pit road. So this is Isaac's race now to throw away. He's got a 42-second lead. But the one thing, going back to that Dover conversation, of course, Nashville's another track that the Indy cars have run before, the Super Speedway, not the road course that they're going to this weekend. But the concrete is different than asphalt. Okay,
yes.
Obviously. But the one thing about concrete is separated by joints. Now, if you didn't know this, think about, I want you to picture yourself driving an Indy car right now on the streets, kind of like Sylvester Stallone in that movie I thought was okay, and everybody else hates me for saying that.
Oh, my God.
So
it's a crime against cinema.
Anyway, so picture yourself driving an Indy car and going over a bridge. Because on the bridge, you usually hit 2 or 3 or 4 of those joints, and you hear that bump, and you hear that doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo.
Yep.
That's what it's like driving on concrete. So the bumpiness is going to be there no matter what because you're hitting those joints every time. And going at 200, or what they were going about, 190 mile an hour probably around Dover. So they were hitting those bumps. It's more like doop, 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 doop. I mean,
yeah, I think Dover was 180, and the track record of their Indy cars at the Super Speedway is 203. And frankly, with these IR18s, I can't even get near that number right now.
Yeah, of course, back then it was the traditional, the V10 horse-powered engines.
Yeah. High downforce with the airbox over the driver. Yeah.
So 4 laps to go for Isaac on his way to another victory here. Kite Bommersbach somehow is going to end up back on the podium again unless he messes something up, which will be his 4th, I believe, in 4 starts. George Whitehouse is going to come back in his debut to a 4th. Don Hunter looking at a 5th here. But actually, this fight's not over with. This is a 1.6 second battle, these two right here, for the 5th position. Or 4th position, I'm sorry. Lester about 6 seconds back from this battle.
Remember the first rule of being teammates.
Oh, you don't wreck another teammate. See Kobe Wells and Ryan Whitaker in the truck series. Anyways.
You know, it's interesting on that. The teammate is treated differently in other forms of racing. In Formula One, your teammate's your enemy. You got whatever you do. If you don't do anything else, you need to finish ahead of your teammate. Otherwise, you're going to lose your seat, right?
Which absolutely makes no sense, by the way.
I don't know. NASCAR, it's you race your teammate no different than you would any other driver. So you're not giving any inches, nothing. Well, IndyCar is a lot different. It's more of a cooperative effort, and a lot of people don't understand that.
I take that comment back because when you have two cars that are way faster than another set of two cars that are faster than another set of two cars, and then you got Haas, it's like, I guess you can understand when that's the only car you're racing is your teammate.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that, and it sounds disrespectful, but it's the truth. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, Red Bull has their good races, Mercedes has their good races, but on a normal race weekend, you cannot sit there and say, Lewis Hamilton's winning this race. Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
So,
and if you do nothing else, you know, Bottas, you know, if he does nothing else,
right.
The only thing he needs to do is, the most successful weekend for him is finishing ahead of Hamilton.
Right. So in the end, I think they've tried to do it, but what if F1 was like IndyCar in this standpoint, actually were able to somehow get their cars more together in competitiveness? Would that then reverse that whole theory, and then your teammate more becomes your helper?
I think they would need to open up the teams more than just two cars.
Well, obviously, yes.
And I mean, you've kind of seen them kind of start that when Red Bull went with their, you know, the A team and then the B team, where they actually didn't have
which,
and then and then you also had other technical alliances like Sauber was with Ferrari for a while, and you know, so forth and so on. You know what I'm talking about,
right.
But they're still it's still another team that they have their own budgets and their own things that they have to worry about, their own priorities. If it was more of like an Andretti Racing or Andretti Motorsports team where you have four drivers all fighting for the same common goal, I think it would be a lot more warmly received. But you know, until they do that, it's you have to beat your teammate no matter what.
So Isaac Morris going to go past Alex Van de Sant, put him now 2 laps down, the 8th position. Nice job by Alex there.
Sting.
That
got to sting
a little bit. As Alex, unfortunately, is going to finish, it looks like 8th, and here comes Isaac off of the final corner. You'll see the white flag, final lap from Belle Isle, as he is well on his way to another victory in the series.
Last 2 seasons ago, when Alex was racing with us, he just kind of faced or got in a bunch of situations where just bad luck, and it was one thing after another. And it really seemed, especially with the last season of the Velocity Online Racing League, or IndyCar Series, you know, he won like 3 or 4 races in the second half of the season, including Indianapolis on the way to his route to the championship. And so it seemed like he kind of shook some of that stuff off. Hopefully that's just in the start of that again with him, with this bad showing. But it's just one bad showing. See, that's the thing. There's still next week.
Yes, and it's an oval. Auto Club Speedway will be here Monday night next week. If I can get myself off on time, we'll have the race for you live and have the whole entire one for you. How's that? Yeah, if these numbers are correct, as I look at the Discord page, we're looking at the 11th career victory for Isaac Morris after his dominant season last season that led him to his first championship. You see the number 1 on his car. Well, that number 1's going to continue, I think, as he starts the Isaac Weave to kick off the season with and he netcodes the wall. That's never good. Breaks the car and crosses the line and wins the Grand Prix at Detroit.
Wow.
And now does a Zanardi.
Wow. I've warned him about that. I've warned him about it.
He didn't hit the wall, but netcoded it.
I tell you what, with iRacing, never count your chickens before they hatch. No. I was 19 laps in a race from the end. I totally dominated. And as I'm coming around the first turn, and just in that last 19 laps, my VR goes out. My race is done. There's no recovering from that. You never count your chickens before they hatch with this service.
Now for Isaac, of course, it is the LMC Gear Grand Prix of Detroit. Make sure you check out lmcgear.com, by the way. You can get some great camping and motorcycle gear. Of course, lightweight motorcycle and camping gear, LMC. But make sure you check those out. Check that out. And also congratulations to Sam Blackwood, who gets a podium to start the season off with a P2 in that 27 car. Great job on his end. Kite comes back, gets himself a top 3 in this race. Shout out to George Whitehouse, gets himself a 4th in his debut, and 5th to Don Hunter. A great start to his career here in the TI Racing IndyCar Series. Fantastic race here tonight. Great strategy and a good race.
Good points day also for Kamaguchi.
Yes, ain't that a kick in the head? I'm still kind of trying to get somebody out there to come and sponsor a team or come bring a team to TI Racing and name it the, of course, Kinshasa Racing.
Actually, it's a good name. I like it. Knee to the face.
Is that going to be your second team, your secondary team?
Actually, I could rename Black Cat that. Yeah, Kinshasa. Yeah.
And Isaac coming through the final corner in his victory lap here, and I think he's going to really get to celebrate with some donuts here as we look back at our tin cans that we're sitting in right now.
He's pivoting right there on that right front. So what he's probably done is he's dialed the brake bias all the way forward, and he is textbook Zanardi right there. That is textbook Zanardi.
Look out, here comes another car. I think it's second place Sam Blackwood, who probably just scared the Isaac out of him. All right, let's take a look at the final results here from the race tonight. Isaac's like, please don't. And I can see it, Isaac doing his calm voice. Please don't. Isaac wins it. And there's the Chevy building, by the way, in the background there, left side. Isaac wins it by 44 seconds over Sam Blackwood. Kind Bommersbach, his fourth podium in 4 starts. That is George Whitehouse finishing 4th. Don Hunter. Lester finishing 6th. Carlos Dotero 7th. Alex Van de Sant, who is probably pretty disappointed right now, finishing 8th. Justin Miller 9th. Isaac Lopez 10th. Dan Marrera 11th. Andres Perez 12th. Luke Daniels 13th, Jim Herrick 14th, Charles Baldwin 15th, Steve Grabowski finishes 16th. Joseph DuPont did not take the green flag, is unfortunate for him, but a great effort tonight. As we see down there, the fountain, that's where Isaac will virtually go celebrate. He'll have it in his head, like picturing himself celebrating down there, because there's no way to get there, which I think would be cool, by the way, is if iRacing found a way to map out to each victory lane at each track like they do on dirt. I think that'd be really cool to see. Probably take a little work, but hey, why not?
What we've been kind of doing with a lot of the Indianapolis races that I've been broadcasting with IndyCars, we've been making the winner actually go get a video of themselves and then post it in Discord of them actually drinking milk.
That's cool.
So maybe what we should do here is have someone pour a bucket of water over their head.
You just gave me an idea. Maybe I should have people start doing videos when they win races of them, like almost like acting like they're climbing out of the car to celebrate.
There's a thought. It's free content. You don't have to do.
Now I'm scared of what else could happen out of that. But anyways, let's get our winner up here to victory lane, as Isaac Morris is going to join us tonight, picking up where he left off last season with his championship and a win tonight here in Detroit. Congratulations to you, Isaac. A dominant effort for you. Not easy tonight, as you had to put up with Alex there for a little bit. And even Kite was giving you a good run for your money there at the beginning of the race. But great job tonight and another win. I believe, if the numbers are correct, your 11th career win.
To be honest, I don't even know myself.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it was a really good race tonight. Yeah, Alex was right up my ass for the whole of the first stint, and I was just like, okay, don't make any mistakes, don't do this, don't do that, and and thankfully I didn't. I did scrape the wall at one point. Luckily it was a 0x, no damage. It was literally just a scrape.
Was it when you were coming to the finish? Don't say no, because we saw it.
Did you net go the wall when you were doing the weave?
No, not. It wasn't when I was doing the weave. It was like towards like the. It's like halfway through the first stint. It was either at turn 5 or it was at the last corner. I'm not. I can't really remember, but they were like the likely corners that it would have happened. But yeah, Alex drove a really good race up until whatever happened to him. Like, it's unfortunate that he made some mistakes. So I was really looking forward to having a really good run in with him. It always seems to happen when me and him get on track together. We always have a good battle, and we blow punches back and forth. So,
Gary, do you want to show this what I'm showing on the stream right now to Isaac?
Yeah, I am. Is it his left
his
rear?
His entire left side
is flapping in the breeze.
Oh, I'm just getting to it now. Yeah, that's netcode. That's netcode all day long. You watch now, it'll pop back onto my car like Lego, It'll be like it never happened.
How big is it to come out here, obviously winning the championship, you throw that one nameplate finally on your car, and to come get yourself a victory here in the first race?
I mean, it's kind of nice because obviously, like, some of the controversy from last season, where about the setups and stuff, and coming in now with like neutral setups, it really just gives a big middle finger to the people who said that I was being unfair and I was using the setups to my advantage, and it just goes to show that it doesn't matter what setup we run. I'll still always put on my best performance, and tonight is possibly being one of my best performance in TI as a whole. I managed to lap the whole field but one guy, which was Sam. But like, I don't think you really ever see that in in a normal league race. But yeah.
Well, great. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's just nice to prove the haters wrong. So,
well,
if you're watching out there, a big F-bomb to you.
Wow. You dropped the bomb. There's your singing right
right
there. Anyways, so great job tonight, Alex.
Isaac.
Damn it! It happens every week. Isaac.
Now it's going to happen more with him back in the series.
Oh, of course, right? And that was actually my first thought when I saw Alex behind him. I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Here we go again.
But Isaac, congratulations on the win. Obviously, a way to kick off that momentum. We did get to talk to you before the season. Let's do a little season preview after week 1. What's your expectations going into season number 5?
To be honest, it's going to be the same as last time. You can show up to a race and you can win, but one week you can be on fire, the next week you can be down in the dumps. So like, I'm just going to take it week by week. You never know, Kite or Alex might show up and have a better week next week or the week after. So it's never what's the word? It's never given, and it's never promised that I'm going to say, oh yeah, I'm going to try and dominate again this season. But I'm just going to take it week by week and hope for the best. And we've got some competition this season, so yeah, it's going to be difficult. But all in all, I'd like to try and have that domination I had last season again. But thinking about the other drivers on track, it might be highly unlikely.
Well, great job tonight, man. I think it's going to be a fun season. You mentioned Kite. I think he's going to be very competitive for you. I think Alex, obviously, if I did it again, is going to be competitive for you. And how about George Whitehouse had a great run tonight. Don Hunter had a great run tonight. So I think it's going to be a great season here ahead of us. You go to Auto Club Speedway next week. But, of course, the win is yours tonight. Congratulations, and shout-out to whoever you like to.
I'd just like to give a shout-out to the team. TI iRacing, and give a shout out to Chris. I don't think we're actually running any sponsors this season, so we're just running solo. But I'd have to check back with Chris with that. But yeah, I'd like to give him big thanks for having me for another season. Shout out to Kite and Sam for rounding out the podium. It's not difficult to it's not easy to get around here in one piece for over an hour. But yeah, shout out to you guys as well for doing the broadcast. When we're done here now, I'm gonna go grab some pizza and sit on my bed and rewatch the broadcast. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
About that.
Yeah, about that. We'll talk about it here in a minute. But anyways, with that said, we're going to throw a challenge out there to you. This is a last-minute challenge that has it came to my head a few minutes ago, and I'm going to challenge my other leagues to do this too. Obviously, the tradition here at Detroit is you jump into a fountain. If there is a body of water near you that is not like the ocean or something, because we don't want, Jaws hitting you, we would like to see video of you celebrating jumping into some body of water.
well, I live in a pretty remote area. I could probably like talk to my neighbors to see if I can jump in their pool.
All right, even if it's a bathtub, I don't care. Just make sure you're clothed.
But yeah, I'll see what I can do for sure.
Well, great job tonight, Isaac. Congratulations, and we'll talk here in a few minutes.
Hey, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Isaac Morris joining us this evening as I got away with my first calling of him Alex.
Alex.
I did it. It happened. I'm going to find a charity maybe to donate money to every time I do that. So
There it is,
we'll
right
do it
there.
out of,
Make it worth something, yeah.
Out of Gary's piggy bank. Anyways, so let's talk to our second place finisher this evening. That was Sam Blackwood, one of Gary's guys. Gary actually had a 2-3 sweep, if you want to call that a sweep. I guess that's the equivalent of winning third place, they say in sports, which really ticks me off. Sam Blackwood, great run here tonight. A great finish. I know we talked a little bit last season. You had a good run there at the end of the season, and it looks like the momentum's carried over.
Yep. I wasn't expecting to come away tonight with a P2 on the card, so it just shows what happens when you don't make mistakes around street circuits. It certainly pays off.
Yeah, talk about learning here this evening. Obviously, you kept the car clean. You kept it so clean, your name's still on the side of it. You did a great job. Obviously, yes, you finished 45 seconds back, but what did you take away from tonight?
To be honest, I can't really think of anything to take away from that. I think it's a really good start to the season, especially with Height coming home in P3 and George coming home in P4 as well. It's definitely a good start to the season. Yeah, well, see if we can take this into Auto Club next week.
Yeah,
one of my favorite ovals.
Yeah, you get back on the oval, and of course you got the momentum flying for you here. A second place run tonight. Talk about Auto Club. You said your favorite oval, your favorite track. What is it about that track that gets along with Sam Blackwood?
It's a little secret I'm keeping in my head for
Fair enough.
when we get there. So I won't release it to the public just yet, but I have a plan in my head of how to win at Auto Club.
So basically, what he's failing to release to you guys is he goes to In-N-Out Burger before the race. That is his secret. So when it's all over,
well, I now know my strategy for the race. I'm just going to follow Sam. That's what I'm going to do.
Gary will be in that race next week, and looking forward to seeing you guys on the track. Sam, shout out to whoever you like to, bud.
To be honest, everyone in Kamigoye and Black Cat for sticking through this season. I know there's not a great amount of numbers compared to the season 5, but hopefully those numbers can start to gain momentum. Also, I'm not sure if anyone else noticed, but we're lacking some sponsors on the car, so we've had to fill it in with a HRT 2011 sort of vibe, trying to get people to sponsor the car to help us get through the season and whatnot.
You might want to talk to your PR guy. He might be able to use
that would be a good idea, but unfortunately he's on sick leave at the moment. So
sick leave, or is he standing next to me?
Sick leave.
Okay, fair enough. We'll call it that. Yeah, he is hanging out with me. That's sick leave, if you ask me. Anyways, great job tonight, Sam. Congratulations, and we'll talk next week.
Thank you. See you after.
Absolutely. Bye-bye. Oh, Sam Blackwood, second place finisher. You're on sick leave, really? So we talked to our third place finisher, Kite Bommerbach, who had a great race tonight. I'm sure he's going to beat himself up for that finish. Kite, obviously a good race, a good comeback. We got to obviously ask you about that mistake over there as you entered the fountain. Just overshoot the track a little bit too much there and just missed a corner.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. It was I'm sure it looked weird, and it definitely felt weird. I got on the brakes probably a little bit harder, I'm guessing, than I normally did going into that corner, and it felt like the rears were about to lock up, and so I decided to just take it straight rather than, go spinning backwards into the tire barrier and have no control over saving the car. So I was just chatting with Sam about that, and I might have been able to make the corner after everything, but I didn't want to risk losing the car, especially that early in the race. Of course, it cost me 20 seconds, but I still ended up finishing a position higher than I started, so I can't be too displeased with the result, because that was really my only mistake of the race.
Yeah, you ran a solid race, and you continue your streak of podiums to start your career here at iRacing, and obviously it's phenomenal itself there. I got to ask, obviously, from the standpoint of, I've been obviously driving this car a lot more lately and learning a lot, and one of the things I've learned about this car, and I don't know if it's an iRacing thing as they continue to work on these cars and make them better and even more fun to race each and every week. When the tires wear, it seems like sometimes the car becomes unpredictable with braking. Is that maybe part of what could have happened in that wreck or in that mishap?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because it felt like the tires had no temperature all of a sudden.
Right.
That potential. I mean, it literally felt like I was pushing too hard on cold tires. But from that point onward, the tires were the most honestly, and I was going to say this without you prompting it, the most predictable they've ever been for me. Very weird. But from that point onward, like I had complete control of like where the edge was on the throttle. Perhaps I was just paying more attention to it after an incident like that, but from that point onward, I felt really comfortable in where I could push and where I couldn't, and really only had 2 or 3 like close calls the entire race, that one being included.
Well, obviously, Kite, you did a great job this evening still to come back and finish in the 3rd position. And just a great effort, obviously, for your team. I know your owner's pretty proud over here to the right. And shout-outs to whoever you'd like to.
Yeah, I just want to give a big shout-out to Gary and the entire Kamigoya team. We are looking for sponsorship as our cars do detail. So if you are interested in coming aboard and having your logo on one of our race cars, hit Gary up. He is, he's eager to put some logos on these cars, and I'm eager to put your logo in victory lane. So
that's some good wording.
That's a great combination right there.
Great wording right there, I must say. Great. That's your PR guy right there, Kite Bomber's.
Yeah, I know.
And a side note here, a little shameless plug for Dale Jr. I noticed your town of San Antonio, there, your hometown, of course, one of the tracks on his Lost Speedways is San Antonio Speedway. So you can check that out. It's the 3rd episode. I actually just finished watching it, so pretty cool deal there on the Peacock channel. So there's a little self-plug for Dale Jr. You're welcome, buddy. Great job, Kite.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for putting on such a great broadcast.
Absolutely. Kite Bomber's back there in the 3rd position, and that's going to do it for us. So there you go. I think I covered everything. I screwed up the intro, screwed up the beginning of the broadcast, got a Dale Jr. plug in there, maybe got some sponsors for Gary's team. The only thing I haven't done is announce that I'm running the Indy 250. Uh-oh. That one slipped out. Anywho, we'll talk about that next week. How's that?
Hey, before we go, I talk a lot about Indy history, and actually in Dale Jr.'s Lost Tracks, they actually go to a track that has substantial Indy history, and you got to check it out, the Texas World Speedway. You got to check that one out. It's a great episode. It shows you the scale of the track and its current condition and how important it was back in the day. And hopefully one of these days, iRacing decides to bring back some other historical tracks. That's one of them. That would be a great place to run these cars. But other than that, thanks overlooking the intro and everything, which we will do on a take 2. I had a fun time tonight, regardless of where my team finished. Just good to be here again and good at the start of another season. And we're going to be here for the next basically 10 weeks. Bringing you guys at home IndyCar action. Just keep it right here on Captain TV every Tuesday night. Same bat time, same bat channel, and you won't miss a step.
He said it right there. Make sure you check us out. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And we'll be here next Tuesday night from Auto Club Speedway virtually. Gary will be in the car. I'll be up here in the booth. And we'll be getting ready for race number 2 of the season coming up next Tuesday night, the first of the Triple Crown. For the TI IndyCar Series. So we're going to head out and go from there. We appreciate everybody watching. Thanks to iRacing for allowing us to have this awesome platform to broadcast from. Of course, thanks to TI Racing for allowing us to broadcast, and Chris, and which, by the way, he's playing goalie somewhere tonight, so I hope he gives up like 9 goals. Anyways, good luck to him tonight, and congrats to Isaac and to the statue that continues to pop up on my screen showing the horse's rear. Is that Dan Marrera? Anyways, no, I'm just kidding. Kidding, Dan. Love you, buddy. Appreciate everybody watching here this evening. We're out. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening, and as always, the old saying, it's still here each and every week. Let's face it, it's the truth. This isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!